Picture this: you've poured your heart, soul, and savings into creating the perfect lawn. Every weekend spent watering, seeding, nurturing each blade of grass like it's your own child. Then imagine watching helplessly as your neighbor, the HOA president, deliberately drives across it every single day, destroying months of work with a smug smile. One man tried patience. He tried politeness. He tried reasoning. But when respect fails, sometimes you have to get creative. And what happened next sent shockwaves through an entire neighborhood, proving that even the most powerful bullies can meet their match. The sound that shattered the morning silence wasn't just a tire exploding, it was the sound of justice finally being served. Hey everyone! Before we dive into this incredible story of standing up to neighborhood bullying, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. And if you love stories about underdogs getting their revenge, hit that subscribe button. You're going to want to see how this plays out. Bryson Hale thought he'd found paradise when he moved his family to Westbrook Estates outside Charlotte. At 44, this IT consultant had finally achieved his childhood dream, a house with a yard big enough for his 2 kids to run free. Growing up in cramped apartments where his nurse mother worked double shifts, Bryson had never owned a single blade of grass. Now he had acres of potential. Those first summer months were pure bliss. Bryson became obsessed with creating the perfect lawn, spending every weekend at Lowe's, studying fertilizer like it was scripture. He'd wake at dawn to water the delicate new sod, watching each section take root with the pride of a new father. His wife Leah would find him crouched in the yard at sunset, gently adjusting sprinkler heads. "This is it," he'd whispered to her one evening, standing barefoot on his emerald carpet. "This is what I always wanted." But paradise has a way of attracting serpents. Colleen Stratton ruled Westbrook Estates with an iron fist wrapped in a fake smile. As HOA president for 15 years, she'd cultivated a reputation that made grown men check their mailbox placement twice. Sharp-tongued, clipboard-wielding, and absolutely convinced that her tenure made her neighborhood royalty, Colleen had never met a rule she wouldn't weaponize or a new resident she wouldn't remind of how things work here. When she first introduced herself to Bryson, her handshake came with a warning disguised as advice: "We like to keep things uniform around here. Don't worry, if something's off, I'll let you know." The red flags were there from day one, but Bryson was too focused on his dream to see the storm clouds gathering. It started on a Monday morning that would change everything. Bryson was pouring his first cup of coffee when he saw it through the kitchen window, Colleen's silver SUV rolling directly across his pristine lawn like it was a paved shortcut. No hesitation, no care, just pure entitlement cutting tire tracks through his carefully nurtured grass. His heart sank as he walked outside to inspect the damage. Deep grooves carved into the soft earth, mud splattered across his freshly pressure-washed driveway. Months of work destroyed in seconds. Maybe it was an accident, he told himself, clinging to hope that was already dying. That evening, Bryson crossed the street to have a neighborly chat. "Big mistake." "Oh that," Colleen said when he mentioned the tire tracks, holding a carton of orange juice like a weapon. "Yeah, I do that sometimes. It's quicker than swinging around. Don't worry, it's not hurting anything." The casual dismissal hit Bryson like a slap. "I've been trying to get the new sod to take. It's pretty fragile right now." Colleen's smirk could have cut glass. "You don't understand how things work here. I've been in this neighborhood since it was dirt. We all cut across when we need to." She turned back to her groceries, conversation over, leaving Bryson standing there processing the audacity. This wasn't just about grass anymore, it was about respect, dignity, and whether he'd let himself be walked over in his own home. What followed was psychological warfare disguised as convenience. Every morning at 7:40 a.m. sharp, Colleen's SUV would deliberately carve fresh wounds into Bryson's lawn. Each track felt like a message: "I can do whatever I want, and you can't stop me." Bryson tried everything civilized society had to offer. He left polite notes on her door. He attempted rational conversations. He even tried waiting outside to catch her in the act, thinking public shame might work. Nothing worked. If anything, Colleen seemed to enjoy the attention, driving across the grass with more flourish, sometimes even waving out her window like it was all a hilarious joke. The neighbors noticed but stayed silent. Mrs. Wilkins winced whenever she saw the daily destruction, but whispered to her husband, "Colleen's been here forever. People don't argue with her, she has ways of making life difficult." The final insult came on a rainy Saturday morning when the ground was soft and vulnerable. Colleen's SUV didn't just cross the lawn, it gouged deep trenches that looked like open wounds, spraying mud across everything Bryson had worked to protect. When he confronted her this time, her response was pure venom. "Maybe if you'd chosen better sod, it wouldn't tear up so easily. Just saying." That night, as Bryson knelt in the rain trying to repair the damage for the 100th time, something broke inside him. Leah found him throwing tools in frustration, mud streaking his clothes. "She's not going to stop," he said, voice hollow with exhaustion. "The only way this ends is if I make it impossible for her to keep doing it." What Bryson did next was methodical, calculated, and completely legal. Under cover of darkness, he carefully placed steel spikes just beneath the surface of his lawn, exactly where Colleen's tires always made contact. Hidden but deadly effective. As he worked in the quiet night, Bryson felt something he hadn't experienced in months: control. Tomorrow, Colleen would learn that actions have consequences. At exactly 7:40 a.m., the neighborhood heard a sound they'd never forget: the explosive bang of a tire meeting its match, followed by the satisfying hiss of air rushing out. Colleen's SUV lurched to a stop, tilted and helpless in the middle of Bryson's yard. Neighbors poured out of their houses like it was Christmas morning. Some had coffee cups, others wore bathrobes, but every single person was grinning at the sight of their neighborhood dictator finally getting served. Colleen sat gripping her steering wheel, face pale with shock and rage. When she locked eyes with Bryson standing calmly on his porch, arms folded, the entire street understood. The power dynamic had just shifted forever. What followed was better than any courtroom drama. When police arrived, Colleen demanded Bryson's arrest for sabotage. Instead, the officer looked at Leah's video evidence of months of trespassing and told Colleen she was lucky not to be facing charges herself. The HOA meeting that followed was legendary. For 15 years, Colleen had ruled through fear and intimidation. Now, watching neighbors openly support Bryson, seeing her authority crumble in real time, was pure poetic justice. The vote wasn't even close, 18-5. Colleen was out. Bryson had won, but victory came with unexpected weight. The battle had consumed months of his life, strained his marriage, and taught his children that sometimes adults fight over things as simple as grass. But he'd also taught his community something invaluable: that bullies only have the power we give them, and that standing up for what's right sometimes requires creative thinking. As Bryson and his son Parker reseeded the scarred lawn weeks later, Parker asked the question that cut to the heart of everything: "Dad, why did all this happen?" Bryson's answer was simple but profound: because sometimes people forget that other people's things, other people's space, deserve respect. And when you let someone keep crossing a line, they'll keep doing it until you stop them. The neighborhood learned that day that respect isn't something demanded by authority, it's earned through mutual consideration. And sometimes, when words fail, the ground itself has to teach the lesson. What do you think? Did Bryson go too far, or was this the only way to deal with a neighborhood bully? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories of underdogs getting their revenge.